Ellie. Hi guys, I'm back. It's Emily. Another video for you talking about goals today. Speaking of goals, my weight was up a little bit the last time I weighed in, and I don't know if it was water weight or what. I did have some carbs like a few days before that. I was at 172.4, I want to say, up from 170. So I haven't weighed in yet this week. We'll see how that goes. You can see my stats below in the description if you want to know like my previous stats. Talking about goals today, and I just want to jump right into it. And I wanted to make this video because goals have always been something very abstract to me, something that just was a word that people use, and I knew I was supposed to have goals, and I knew that there's things that you are working toward and that's your goal, but I had no idea how to implement a goal, no idea really how to break it down and, just achieve a goal, basically, or how to measure it. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that today and kind of put it in perspective, because I came across a Pinterest post, and weirdly enough, it was just really simple, and it talked about how to be productive each week, and it also talked about goals. And so it's kind of put me on this path of a whole goal thing. I didn't have to radically change my life. I didn't, have to go buy any special planner or anything like that. I might buy a planner next year for 2019 though, because I'm kind of liking the whole writing the plans out, which I've never done. Anywho, we'll get into it. So why have goals? I think that is something that I have really had to come to terms with. So why do you have a goal? You have a goal because you want something that's measured, and you want to feel like you achieved something. That's why I talk to you guys about, as far as, and when I talk about goals today, I'm talking about all the goals, all the types, and I will talk about what the types of goals are. But when I talk to you guys about like doing small changes in your life, when I'm talking about weight loss, and this goes for really anything, when I'm talking to you guys about doing small changes, it's because that is something that's attainable. The small changes are something that you can measure and say, my goal for this week is to not go to the fast food place. Okay, so say that's your only goal, which is admirable, because if you go to fast food like 3 times, 4 times a week, that's a big deal to say, I'm not gonna go to fast food this week. Even if you continue a poor diet because you're eating poorly right now or whatever, you continue a poor diet, but you take that one thing out of your life. That makes you feel like you accomplished something, and then you're gonna wanna do another thing the next week. So then you're gonna, not only are you not gonna eat at fast food, you're also gonna say, I am going to cut out sugary drinks. So then the next week you no longer go to the fast food restaurant and you're not drinking sugary drinks. Another, accomplishment once you get through that week and you mostly like didn't have sugary drinks, and you just start feeling more confident. You feel like you achieved a goal. So I wanted to talk about real quick the types of goals. And that is a pin on Pinterest that I found that talked about the different categories. And I knew a lot of them, but these are categories that you can have for yourself, and you don't have to have all of these goals, but it's a good starting point to think about what you want for your life. So there are career, financial, spiritual, physical, intellectual, family, and social goals. So examples of this: career, that may or may not be obvious. Like, what do you want to do in your life? Or what kind of income do you want to create from your career? Or what do you want to accomplish? Who do you want to help? What are the steps, or what degrees do you need? What certifications? Financial goals. For example, I need to build up a savings, and I would like to get into a place where I could buy a home. Spiritual goals. My spiritual goals may be to, read my Bible every morning and make sure that I, tell God thank you for the things that I'm thankful for every single morning, and do a devotion. Physical goals. For example, my recent physical goal is to work out at least 3 times a week. Intellectual goals. This could be, reading a book a week, or a book every 2 weeks, or doing an audiobook a week based on things that stimulate you intellectually. Family goals. Those are like, making sure to sit down for dinner once a week, or making sure that you do a family game night or spend time, or reaching out to your mom who lives in a different state at least, you know, every other week. Social goals can be to increase your circle of friends, or perhaps decrease your circle of friends depending on what your needs are, or making new friends in different circles than you're used to. Maybe making some friends that have similar goals to your goals. That's another one that I have kind of been thinking about lately, is just maybe finding some additional friends that have the same business mindset as me and goals that I have. So those are the types of goals. Now I want to talk about how to come up with your goals. How do I know what my goal is? You know, like a lot of people talked about goal weight when you're doing weight loss surgery, and my doctor never even really like talked about a goal weight, so that was something that I had to kind of come up with on my own. For me, that was kind of like a abstract thing. Also just like, okay, I want to be financially stable. Well, what does that look like? So I heard this guy talking on a podcast, and I talked about him on my Instagram stories, and you guys should absolutely go check him out. I will link his YouTube below. His name is Charlie Jabaley, and he's on Instagram at Charlie, and then Charlie Jabaley is his YouTube, but you can see it below. So briefly his background is that he is a successful music manager making a lot of money, and had a lot of success at that. And he was talking about when he was younger, he created a character in his mind, and I want to say he said he was like 12 years old when he did this. He created a character in his mind, and that character's name was CEO Charlie. And CEO Charlie was a CEO and a businessman and successful manager. And he did the things in his life that would lead to or create this person. Like, what would CEO Charlie do? And now he's transitioned. He said the more successful he got in his job, the fatter he got. And now he's lost like 120 pounds on, you know, just like eating better and exercising, and so inspirational. So he has reinvented himself, or the character, as Rocket Charlie, I think he called it. And it's funny, so now he's an athlete, and he actually is like retired from much of his like business entities, and is devoted to making sure that he works out every single morning, and that is like the first priority for him. He's asking himself, what would Rocket Charlie do? So my goal, you guys, is to be in the best shape of my life when I turn the big 40 next year in March. I realized just a few days ago that I need to figure out what that looks like. There's something called SMART goals, also found on Pinterest, but I've heard this before. So in order to have a goal be like attainable, you want it to be specific: who, what, where, when, why, how. Measurable: how will you know when you're done? Attainable: is this realistic? Relevant: how does this fit into your life now? And time bound: when will you achieve your goal? What's your deadline? I realized I had the specific. Who is me. When is by my birthday. Why is because I am just driven to keep bettering myself, and I know that I can do this. And the how is through proper nutrition and exercise. Measurable: how will I know when I'm done? I realized I didn't have a measure of that, and I want to. And I do have a weight measurement, but as far as the physicality goes, I don't. And then I have to look at, is it attainable? Yes, absolutely. I've done it before. I'm going to have to kick it up a notch from what I was 2 years ago when I was in the best shape of my life. I'm gonna be in even better shape. But I do believe it's absolutely attainable. Relevant: how does it fit into my life now? I have to figure out how it fits into my life, and figure out a workout and a schedule and eating, you know, routine, so on. Time bound: when will you achieve your goal? What's your deadline? My deadline is my birthday next year. And also, so I realize I want a weight measurement. I want to be at the most 150 pounds, and I want to be physically defined more so than I was 2 years ago, which is visual partly, but also like lifting heavier than I was at that time. And I know you know, what I was lifting and so forth. And I also realized I wanted to have an actual like event goal. So I talked to my cousin, just because it's always good to have support. We're gonna do a Tough Mudder next June so that I have something physical to look forward to and accomplish. And you know, it's funny, I've already had people giving me negativity about it and saying like I couldn't do it and that it wasn't gonna be for me. And it's just funny how when you tell people things that you wanna do in life, that people will come at you with that negativity instead of supporting you. I just find it so funny. That's just one example of a goal. I have financial goals and business goals and things like that too, but I'm gonna, for sake of, you know, keeping this video not super long, this is the example that I'll use. This is me, my goal being getting in the best shape of my life by my birthday next year. So this post that originally inspired the whole thing, talking about how to stay super productive each week. And it's talked about setting monthly goals. And I actually believe in setting now, not previously, but setting goals for your entire year. Like, what do you want the next year to look like? And that might be something that you want to do in December before January comes. Not necessarily New Year's resolutions, but what do you want what do you want to look like at the end of the year? So come up with this character in your mind. And my character should be, I don't know what her name's gonna be, but I feel like she can be physically fit and financially fit and spiritually fit and have a great relationship in the family and all those things. So I don't know how I would like define her or name her, but for now we're just gonna call her Ginger Life Goals. I mean, that's the name of my Instagram. She is going to set a yearly goal, set monthly goals. At the beginning of July, I sat down and I wrote down my goals for the month of July, and that was lose 4 pounds, and there were some business things on there, and there was some financial things on there. Make a list of tasks. Turn your monthly goals into an action plan to achieve each one. So you know, how am I going to lose 4 pounds? I'm going to meal prep. I am going to focus each day and track my calories. I am going to do weekly weigh-ins. And then I know like I need to kick it up a notch because I don't always set a 4-pound goal for myself. So that's intense. How much time will each task take? Decide how much time you need for each task and if the tasks are recurring or just once. So like my meal prep, I know that takes about 1 to 2 hours on a Sunday or Monday, depending on when I have the time in my schedule to do that. I need to set that aside and schedule it. And then my workouts, they take approximately an hour, and I want to do those 3 times a week. So I figure out what days. A lot of times I have to figure out when I don't have my kids and do it on those days. And if I have something social going on or an appointment or something like that, I have to make sure that I'm accounting for that and getting it in somewhere else. Plan your weekly calendar. Include everything you need to do for that week. If there are things on your list that don't fit, move them to the next week. Makes total sense. So you didn't achieve them this week, you bump them into the next week. And that's where being realistic is helpful as well. Repetitively doing these things and figuring out what we need to do and breaking it down. So, you know, making sure I plan out, like I just said, for my meal prep, make sure I plan for my workouts, for finances. I have been really struggling with finances and wish I would have set up goals like at the beginning of this year, but I didn't, and now I'm playing catch up. So I have already set this in my mind, and this is more maybe of a challenge, but I think it's partly a goal too, is for the month of August, I'm not eating out or having drinks and paying for them outside of my home. Like, I'm not going to go out to eat or for drinks during the month of August because I'm going to crack down and just be more diligent with my spending. So those are just some ideas for you guys on what I'm looking at and what kind of things I do. You could have a goal for August or a challenge, and I think challenges can go very well with goals. Goal for, you know, August or whatever, of not having sugar, just cutting sugar out, just to challenge your body. It's not necessarily because you can never have sugar, and like I said, once you accomplish these things, it just makes you feel that much better. But I just wanted to talk about that today, you guys, and put it in a realistic perspective for you, because I think that it can get very overwhelming and it can be very abstract if you don't have like a plan on what you're gonna do and step-by-step things to get to the point. So think about that person that you want to be? What does she look like? What do her finances look like? What does her family look like? What does her spirituality look like? What does her intellect look like? What does her career look like? Her social life? And who are the people that are in her life and who aren't in her life? Because if they're not attributing to your success and your goals, guys, remember what I say, get them out of there. And that doesn't have to be in a mean way. You can edit your friendships. I heard that on a podcast too, and I thought it was an amazing point. Edit those relationships. Is there something that's contributing to your overeating? Is there something that's contributing to your, unhealthy anxiety issues? Get it out of there. If it's something that you can get out of there, which most things we can choose as far as extra, things in our life. Maybe not certain people, but just get it out. That's what I wanted to say. I hope you guys like this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you do, and I will see you in my next video. I love you guys.